As you know, you're welcome to pose whatever question you want to during this meeting by speaking your question or by writing your question in the chat box. So for now, if you can release whatever we are holding on to. So you can turn your attention to your body, mind, turn your attention to the sensations within your body. Your breath. Invite yourself to sink into being, to rest as being. Maybe there are some thoughts that are still appearing as a result of whatever was taking place previously. To simply let it be, allow it to be. Allowing is a simple recognition that whatever is arising in the spaciousness of being, in the spaciousness of awareness, in the spaciousness of presence, that is resting as itself. You are this awareness, this aware space, resting as you are, resting as yourself. Whatever thoughts, sensations arise, they arise within that space of awareness, which is resting as it is. The gentle breath, the sensation of your feet on the ground, the sound of this voice arising in the spaciousness of awareness, not disturbing anything, not disturbing the aware space out of which it arises, the aware space that perceives whatever is arising. So you invite yourself to sink deeper into deeper into simple being. The silence, the peace, the stillness of being. Notice that whatever you perceive right now is an appearance within that space, within that aware space. At zero distance, meaning whatever you're perceiving is intimate, appears in complete intimacy with the awareness that perceives it. Recognize this intimacy the intimacy of presence, the intimacy of being, the intimacy of awareness. No need to pursue anything. No need to fix anything. No need to regret anything. No need to be anyone, or no need to be anything. You already are this aware presence. And this aware presence is complete freedom and peace. It's not the freedom of the body, because the body is limited in its freedom. It's not the freedom of the mind, because the mind is limited in its freedom. But it's the freedom of being, of the I awareness, that has no limitations, that has no beginning and no ending to it. I awareness is. And this isness permeates the entire realm of your experience. I awareness is. I am. And this amness permeates your entire experience. It's never less or more. You are never less and you are never more. Notice that sometimes we identify with an image, we identify with a feeling. We get swept by a body of thoughts, by a movement of feelings and emotions within the body. But I awareness does not get swept. Irrespective of what is happening at the body-mind level, nothing is happening at the level of consciousness. And in fact, there are no levels. Consciousness is the reality of your experience. You may be overlooking it. It may seem to be veiled to you by thinking and feeling. But although the sun may be veiled by the clouds, the sun shines brightly 24/7. Although awareness or consciousness may be veiled by thinking and feeling, it is absolute, unmoved, unstirred, undisturbed, and undisturbable. Awareness is what we refer to as I. Not I, this man or this woman or this person, or this mother or father, but I, the absoluteness of awareness. I, presence. I, being. Not I, a human being, a good being or a bad being. I, purity, the reality of being awareness. We forget what I refers to, and we confuse I to be the body-mind. We identify with nationality, we identify with gender, we identify with beliefs and feelings, we identify with forms and objects. And with this identification, there is a moment of eclipse. The sun is eclipsed for a moment. It is still shining, but at the mind level, it is not shining. Only thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and sensations seem to be all what is happening. So the invitation is to recognize that beyond the realm of thinking and feeling, and in spite of thinking and feeling, and throughout thinking and feeling, consciousness is I am. So you need to recognize yourself. Keep returning over and over to this recognition. Keep returning to the stillness of being. Make that choice over and over until that choice is being made for you. Until your entire experience is permeated by the peace of being. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to pose your questions by speaking them or writing them in the chat box. Any questions?
Hello, Magdi. This is George.
Yes, hello, George.
Hi there. I have a question. I'm not quite sure how to word it. I recently heard some lady talk about her faith.
Hey, what?
Faith, F-A-I-T-H.
Yes, her face.
How important faith was to her in her life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I knew better than to talk to her and question her about it, so I didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought about it. So her faith is a belief. And it's a belief in the belief, okay? And if I asked her about it, she would probably say, well, yeah, I have some experience, and she could probably describe some experiences she had. As I say, I was wise enough not to say anything. So my question is, with regard to awareness, the universal awareness, obviously that's not a belief. It's obviously something beyond an experience. How do you know universal awareness?
The knowing of universal awareness is a recognition of what you are. So you don't know universal awareness as you know a perception, or as you know a sensation, a memory, a thought. You know universal awareness by being universal awareness. You already are, of course, that what you are. You cannot become what you are. You cannot become universal awareness, because whatever you become can also change. You can become something else. So it's a recognition of our true nature, recognition of what I am. And this recognition requires interest in truth, interest in reality, and requires assiduous contemplation and honoring the teaching, honoring the understanding, honoring the insights that become available to you. Dedicating yourself and making a choice to persevere in your inquiry, in your contemplation. And along the path, along the way, you will find various insights that avail themselves to you. And you will also find help in the form of friends, teachers that appear to you in your journey, and that you feel trustful of in their presence, in their company, and drawn to further into your contemplation, into your inquiry. So it is an inner recognition, and it can start in small glimpses that become more ripe, they ripen with time, and the perfume of understanding, the perfume of peace, the perfume of happiness and equanimity will start to emanate in the garden. And in terms of faith, it's a form of, say, trust that we gain along the journey. It's very, sometimes very faint, sometimes it's very clear. It's sort of a resonance, internal resonance, where you feel that yes, it is the right direction. I trust that path. And also, like when you are traveling towards the ocean, you start getting whiffs of the ocean air from a few miles away. That affirms for you the direction in which you are journeying. So there is faith in the teaching, faith in the teacher. But it's not a blind faith, it's a faith that also has within it your own validation, your own internal validation. But from the beginning, it's important to have the right intention, which is the intention to awaken to truth, to the reality of our experience. Then we come to the understanding that there is one reality. There cannot be numerous realities. And then we dive deeper and deeper into contemplation. The contemplation of consciousness is consciousness contemplating itself. You are consciousness. So the object of your study is the subject that is studying. It's the self that is studying the self. So we go directly to our experience in our inquiry about the limitation of consciousness. So we ask ourselves, meaning consciousness asks consciousness, is my experience that consciousness is limited? And when you look closely at this question, you will find that the answer is no. Yes, of course, objects are limited. Body is limited. But the question that consciousness is posing to itself, am I consciousness limited? And upon closer scrutiny into this question, you come to your inner clarity that no, in my experience, limitation does not apply to consciousness. That is my experience. That is consciousness experience of itself. You follow, George?
Yes. One thing you said that really resonated with me is you used the term inner clarity. And I might have said, well, what the hell is that? But then I do know what that is. For example, I know through inquiry, I have discovered, not recently, maybe several months ago or a year ago, there's no separate self here. I'm not the body mind. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I've already discovered that. Mm-hmm. And so my I guess I could have answered my own question, is that the same kind of knowing that led me to that will then, has not yet led me to the discovery that I am consciousness, universal consciousness. Is that accurate?
Yes, and I would say that when you refer to I, what are you referring to?
Okay, well, in the normal discourse, when I refer to I'm referring to the body mind. So if you ask me, I know, I think I've said this, but I know that there's no I, that there's no separate I here. But in my usual interaction in the world, when I'm not talking to you, when I'm doing whatever I'm doing, I still think I am a separate body mind.
Right.
If I stop and look, I'll say, wait, no, that's not right. But I don't stop and look, okay?
You see, when we are doing the contemplation about consciousness, and we say, I haven't yet realized that I am consciousness, I am universal consciousness, and we ask ourselves, what is it that is asking that question? What is it that is inquiring? And if the answer is me, the body mind, then the next thing that we can look at is, given the body mind is limited in time and space, is limited via the atomic structure of the body mind, atomic structure of the brain, etc. Given the body mind is limited, is it possible for the limited form to know that which is not limited?
I get it. Yes, thank you. I see that. Yes.
Obviously, you are using the wrong tool. You cannot use a wrench to open the door of your house. You have to use the right tool. So by using a limited tool to contemplate the reality of consciousness, is no matter how many attempts you do, these attempts will not lead you outside of the mind, outside of the body mind, because you are using the body mind instrument. So you have to use a different instrument. You have to use the instrument that can recognize universality. Has to be a universal instrument. Only universal instrument can recognize a universal instrument. I'm just using the word instrument metaphorically, of course, just having a
No, yeah, I get that. Yes.
Yes. So you have to go to the universal to know the universal. You cannot, from the limited, from the personal, from the mortal, from the functional, you cannot, with that tool, answer your question. Because your question is a genuine question, which is, I would like to know what I'm hearing, that I is universal consciousness. So you have to use a different I. You have to use the I that is universal. So in your experience, you have to look, say, what is it that is universal? What is Magdi talking about? What kind of tool is he talking about? What can I use? So when you look in your experience, George, you will find that the world, body, mind are constantly changing.
Right.
But you find that there is something else besides the world, body, mind that is perceiving, that is aware. Right now, in this moment, there is this perception. Yes, there is the perception, but there is awareness of the perception. And the awareness of the perception is the same awareness if you close your eyes, or if you turn your attention to the memory of your mother. It's that same awareness, irrespective of the object, or of the form, or of the what is perceived. Irrespective of that, you will find that in your experience there is something that is constant across time and across space. Across time meaning the same awareness from yesterday when you were having breakfast, and this morning when you're having breakfast. The breakfast was different, but the awareness was the same. That's across time. And across space, the awareness of right now sitting in your living room, let's say, and yesterday when you were sitting in your office, 20 miles away, irrespective of the space, the same awareness. So you are talking here about an instrument. I'm using the word instrument in quotation mark.
Right.
An instrument that is irrespective of time and space. And if it is irrespective of time and space, that means it is irrespective of mind. And you are then moving in the right direction towards the instrument that you will be using to find the answer to your question, but you will find that the instrument that you will be using to answer your question is the answer to your question.
This is the answer to the question. Yes. Yes, I see that. Yes, I see that. And also, what I was going to say is, I was going to say yes, but I am going to say yes, but the awareness that I know or experience seems like it's a personal awareness, like it's me. But that's not, makes no sense because there's no me here.
Well, wait. Let's say it seems that it's me. Let's stay with that. Let's not get away. So yeah, so right now, this awareness seems like it's me. So we look at that. I say, okay, it seems like it's me. How can I describe to myself this seeming? This seems that it's me. Is it a feeling, or is it? Can you describe this? You say it seems like it's me. So let's go there together.
Okay.
How would you, let's say, describe to yourself this seems that it's me?
That's a great question. I can't answer that. Let me look. How do I say it seems like it's me. I understand your question.
Yeah.
Is it a thought? Is it a feeling? Huh.
It's an interesting question because then we're saying, oh, okay, let me take a look at that. So I don't know, maybe it will appear as a sensation, maybe it'll appear as a thought, maybe it will appear as, I don't know. You have to look, you see. And even, let's say, just for conversation purpose, that it appears to you as a sort of a general feeling.
Okay.
So, general feeling. So what is it that perceives this? Something must perceive this general feeling, must know this general feeling, otherwise we won't even be talking about it. We would have nothing to talk about. So there is something else besides this general feeling that says it seems to be personal, that is perceiving that. Now, is that which is perceiving this feeling, is that personal? You see, if you do the iterations, if you keep doing these iterations, you're gonna come to what is at the core of your question. What is the core of your question?
Right. Well, it's not really an infinite regress because I could say, well, the personal.
Sooner or later, the iteration has to, like Francis Lucien, the teacher, used to say, the buck has to stop somewhere.
Right.
The buck has to stop somewhere.
I understand that. Yes.
So at some point, the buck has to stop somewhere, and it stops at awareness. And so the seeming personal is an impression. It's what we refer to as a mind impression, body-mind impression.
Yes.
Body-mind impressions are a dime a dozen. There are millions of them. You probably had 20 of them in the last 5 seconds.
Yes, it could be, yes.
You're not aware right now, for example, of the sensation of your back against the chair.
Right.
But yet, there is a sensation of your back against the chair.
Right.
They don't matter that much. The body-mind impressions don't matter that much. They're like the weather, like the shape of the clouds, you see. It's fascinating, the shape of the clouds. I mean, if you become interested in the shape of the clouds, when I was a young boy, I used to love that, to lie down in the field and look up at the clouds because they were fascinating. But they were just constantly changing. It's fascinating in a way.
Okay.
Child.
Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, George. So there is a question from Rashmi. Hello, Rashmi. Okay. You're welcome, Rashmi. Omar, you're right. Would you describe a realization as knowing you are awake instead of deep sleep, or knowing you are in a dream while in it, like lucid dreaming? I would not say that realization is knowing that you are awake instead of deep sleep. I would say it is being awake as in deep sleep. So it's being in deep sleep 24/7. I would say it's akin similar to being in deep sleep 24/7. Now the thing about deep sleep that we usually experience every night is that we wake up, somehow deep sleep ends, and we return to being somebody with their problems, their issues, and I gained weight, I hope I get this promotion, and we return to the work, body, mind. So to your question, Omar, I would say it is being in deep sleep 24/7. You also right, or knowing you are in a dream while in it. Yes, but I would say yes. Knowing that it is a dream, but you are not in it, it is in you. The dream is in you. You see, you are no longer a dream character. Of course, you still function, the body-mind functions as a dream character. Meaning, if you ask me, what is your name? I will tell you my name is Magdi. I would not tell you my name is consciousness. So yes, you know it's a dream, but you know the dream is occurring within you, out of you. You are dreaming this dream like when you are dreaming all dreams. That the you is the dreamer of all dreams. But you are not in the dream. When you are in the dream, you're still something or somebody in time and space. The dream is the time and space impression. But the key thing about realization is the end of unhappiness, is the end of the sense of limitation, the end of angst, the end of fear and desire, the end of regret and worry. No more tossing and turning. There's a tossing and turning. So any questions?
My dear, it's Esther.
Hello, Esther.
You know, the other day, it just really, in contemplation, I guess, it came to me, there's no one awakening. And as you were speaking to George, I kind of sorted that out in that the whole, what we call awakening, is part of God's dream, isn't it? And there really is no one awakening. And any awareness that is present is God's grace. And
it's God's presence.
God's presence. And so it just helped me understand the phrase not knowing, and feeling that recognition that there's no one awakening, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this whole thing of, the whole time thing is simply God's dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
The seeming process
Yeah.
of awakening is, what is that? It's God's dream, isn't it?
Yeah, one could say that, Esther, yes, that God dreams herself to be somebody in her dream, like in your dreams at night, because you are that. Dreams, God, or you dream yourself to be a particular person in the dream. And although you are dreaming all the other characters in your dream, although God is dreaming all the characters in her dream, when you choose to be a particular character in the dream, for that moment, you overlook that all these other characters are also your dream. And so you experience yourself as this particular person in a relationship with other people that are outside of you. You perceive a world, you perceive others, but in fact it is God that has identified itself as you, and within that identification, she has chosen to forget that all the other characters and all the other perceptions are also her dream, are also God's dream. And at some point, God gets tired or loses interest in continuing this aspect of the dream, and realizes that, oh, I am not this particular character. I am dreaming all these characters. I am the dreamer of this character. I am the dreamer of this character's perceptions. I am the dreamer and the thinker of these characters' thinking. I am the perceiver as well as the perceptions of this character, and that character, and that character, and all characters in my dream. So it's a recognition of what always was. I always have been eternally what I am. I have never been anything else than what I am. I have never, in fact, been this person, or that person, or that person. I have never been any person. I have never had any experience. The experiences that character A had, the experiences that character B had, the experiences that character C had, all these were my dreams. And in fact, there were no characters, there are no actuality to the characters in my dream. They are my creation. I am creating out of myself a personal amusement, my personal circus. But the main thing to understand is that the sense of separation that is experienced is not experienced by God, because God does not know the sense of separation. It is the character on the stage, the character that through God's dream is now experiencing himself or herself as somebody in danger, somebody who still has, who only has 10 more years to live, who only has so much money left in their bank account, who is losing, whatever they're losing. So it is at that dream character location, let's say, that there is a sense of unhappiness. Unhappiness is never at the level of consciousness. It's an impression, mind impression. This is why we say in the teaching that in fact there is no such reality to suffering, there is no reality to misery, there is no reality to ignorance. But that's not sufficient. It's not sufficient to say that. You have to come to the understanding of what is the true meaning of that in your own experience. That in fact, in your own experience, all the angst that you're experiencing are just mind impressions, sensations, neutral sensations with a story that we repeat and repeat and repeat. That in fact, one could say that unhappiness is a self-inflicted situation when we choose to identify as a me, when we choose to argue and resist and fight and defend and blame, because we can choose not to do that, to remain as we are. But things have a momentum. Somehow the more we engage in blame and accusation and defending and seeking, it gathers momentum and it starts to spin the wheel on its own. So in terms of awakening, from God's perspective, there is no such thing. It's like from the point of view of the sun, there is no such thing as sun shining. It's what it is. It's only from the point of view of darkness that we speak about the sun shining. We speak about shadow and light. But from the perspective of the sun, there is no such thing. It's meaningless for the sun to say, I am shining. It's what it is. There is no sun without shining, there is no shining without the sun. I mean, from using that simple metaphor. So, awakening is the realization that there is a virus, and that this virus is not going to actually kill you, because you are immortal, you are eternal. And that the virus of self-reference, referring to me as body-mind, personal self-reference, is slightly off orbit, because to refer to yourself as a self is a good reference, but when you add the personal aspect to it, you're limited. You you add to it your belief structures, you add to it your history and all the baggage of the me baggage, who I am, somebody's son or daughter, somebody's mother or father, blah, 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 this culture, this society, the story, you add to it the mind. So not knowing is a quality of being where all the add-on are not there. There isn't the history, the luggage, the baggage is not there and it's not necessary. You don't need any baggage, any past to be presence right now. In this moment, you are not Esther, I am not Magdi. Just the presence, just awareness, just beingness. Just it's nameless and it's not knowingness. It's not knowingness in that there is something to know or not to know. It is the not knowingness that is free from the constraints of knowledge, from the constraints of the past, from the constraints of projections, of the mind projections about the future. Freedom from time, freedom from the impression of past and future, freedom from the impression of being somebody. In this moment, you have to go out of your way to be somebody. But without going out of your way, you are nobody. You are neither somebody nor nobody, in fact. It's pure presence. It's aware presence. That when you look at it, you recognize that I am and I know I am. I am aware and I know I am aware. But it has no name or age or gender or phenomenal quality. So that's a not knowing. I remember Francis, somebody asked him a question recently at the SEND conference, and it was a sort of an intellectual question. And Francis said, over time I come to know less and less. So I don't know. I don't know. I know less and less.
That was great, Maggie. Thanks so much.
Okay.
So clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to talk with you, Esther. Let me see. So Omar, you're right. Actually, sometimes in a real dream while asleep, I know it's a dream. Okay. Then I feel like I can do everything I always wanted to do in real life because I will never die and it's just a dream. Okay. This seems to be the realization there is no real life. Okay. So sometimes in a dream, while asleep, you know it's a dream. Okay, so if that happens, Omar, I would invite you to ask yourself in the dream, because now you know that it's a dream, meaning there is knowledge, there is knowledge that it's a dream, so there can be also self-knowledge. So ask yourself at that moment, what am I? Usually these sorts of questions are applied during the waking state, but given what you are writing here, that actually you're aware that you are dreaming while asleep, then ask yourself, what am I? What is it that knows this dream? You're right, then I feel I can do everything I always wanted to do in real life because I will never die and it's just a dream. When you say, I feel I can do everything I always wanted to do in real life, what is this I that you're referring to? I can do everything I always wanted to do. You're already doing everything that you want to do. What is this I that can do everything or can do or cannot do? Uh, uh, if you know, or when you know it's a dream, and you know yourself as a dream character in the dream, then you would also know that all the other characters in the dream are also your dream. So when you say, I can do everything, what I are you referring to? Which dream character are you referring to? Because you are all dream characters. If you know it's a dream, meaning your dream, therefore you are dreaming yourself as well as everybody else. So when you refer to I can do everything that I want to do, when you say I can, which I are you referring to? Are you referring to dream character A or all dream characters, or are you referring to consciousness? Meaning that which knows that it's dreaming all dreams. If you're referring to consciousness, I, which is dreaming all dreams, which is dreaming the dream, then consciousness is not in the doing business. Consciousness doesn't do, nor does it not do. It's don't give a hoot about doing or not doing. That's at the mind level, at the dream character level, that we have an interest in doing and not doing. You say, this seems to be the realization there is no real life. It depends what you mean by life, Omar. If by life, real life, if by real life you're referring to consciousness, yes, there is real consciousness. It's not an object, it's not something, but it is a reality of being, the reality of all experience. So there is a real life as real consciousness. But if you're referring at real life as the life that is imagined by one of the dream characters, then you are correct in that there is no reality to the content of the dream or to the dream itself outside of the reality of consciousness. So the reality of the dream, its content and its quality, belongs to consciousness, does not belong to the dream or to the dream characters. Any questions? Kelly, you're right. I don't have ambition, goals, and I am not driven as I was most of my life. I don't care about having any plans until I care. Then I'll plan something. I'm not unhappy. I have everything I need and feel that I'm doing what I want to do. I am actually excited when I have strong feelings or opinions because of the opportunity to learn more, to see what's true, can laugh about it or feel great peace. Sometimes I think I am missing something, but never now, never now. Okay. I'm just not using my energy in the same way. Does this sound like the path of finding that which I am? I think that my asking you might mean that I'm not. Can you talk more about this path? So one thing that strikes me in what you're writing, Kelly, you say, sometimes I think I'm missing something, never now.
Do you have a question about that?
I'm just wanting maybe to get some clarification. I don't want to add my own interpretation to it, but say some more about that. Sometimes I think I'm missing something, never now. You mean?
Yeah,
Longer?
I'm revisited by thoughts of thinking I'm missing something, and then when I look at it, I realize I'm not missing anything.
Okay, I got you. You know, you asked, does this sound like the path of finding that which I am? I would say that it's, you are, from what you're describing, you're living the ease of being. And you don't need to find out what you are if you are living the ease of being.
Oh. Okay.
When all is well, you don't need to spoil it.
I want.
So, yes, well, sounds good to me. If there are no questions, no worries, no concerns, it's fine. Because all questions are looking for their ending, right? They're looking for the answer, and the answer ends the question. And when there are no questions, when I mean questions, I say I include in that also at the feeling level. When at the feeling level, all is well. All is well does not mean all feels good. No, all is well. I'm okay with whatever is arising, whatever is happening. There's a stomach ache here. There is so okay. Yeah. If all is well at the body-mind level, then why spoil it?
How would it spoil it, though?
How would, huh?
How would it spoil it?
Well, if you, if all is well and you think that you should raise a question, that I need to have a question, or is this what it's about? You're going to be looking for an answer to that. And if you don't get the answer, the question creates a sort of like some inner tension.
Well, will I find the absolute this way?
Can you repeat that?
Will I find consciousness this way? Will I know consciousness this way?
Which way? When you say this way, what do you mean by this way?
Being comfortable in being.
Oh, okay. So you see, here's the question, right? Well, there is no way to find consciousness, because that which hears these words is consciousness, and you hear these words, don't you? Don't you hear these words? So, how can you find consciousness? Because that which I am is consciousness. You can recognize what you are. You can come to the recognition that I am this presence. And this recognition can become sort of established as your experience. It can be accompanying you. It can be present to you, meaning present to itself in your experience. But it's different from finding consciousness, you see. So it's an inner understanding. It's an experiential understanding. It's a direct understanding of what I is. It's a lived understanding. So it's an understanding that is living itself. It's a living understanding. It's a living understanding that I is this transparency. This very moment, I is this. So it's not like a finding in time. You find something, you do, you look, you search, and then you find, maybe tomorrow, after tomorrow, or next week. But if something you find it tomorrow, via a certain means, via certain tools, you can lose it. But what you are, you can never lose. Presence. Have you ever lost presence? Have you ever not been present?
No.
And what knows that? Knows itself.
Mm-hmm.
Presence knows it is. If you ask yourself, am I present right now? The answer is yes. The I is presence itself. Presence asks itself, am I present? And the answer is yes, of course. Yes. Am I present now? Yes. Was I present a minute ago? Yes. Am I present now? Yes. Am I presence right now? Yes. What am I? Presence. Presence is not an object. It's not like an object.
Mm-hmm.
Presence. So, finding consciousness is more sort of coming to I is presence in this moment. That this presence is not a female presence or a male presence or a big presence, tall presence, wide presence. It's not a long presence or a short presence. It doesn't have those qualities of objects or forms. It's just presence. You can refer to it as the transparency of being, or the reality of being. The reality of consciousness, of the reality of awareness. So it's more a recognition that, yes, awareness is real, consciousness is real. And it doesn't have a personal reality. It's not like, oh, it's more real to me and less real to Magdi, or more real to Magdi and less real to me. That's just thinking. That's thinking. That's a story. That's creative thinking.
Yeah.
It's a play of mind. but presence, consciousness, there isn't more or less of it. That's why we use the term absolute. It's the absolute. Because absolute, you cannot say more or less, more absolute or less absolute. It's just absolute. Or we say isness, beingness. So it's not like finding consciousness. It's more like sort of realizing of what I really means, what I is. Because in the thinking around, in the feeling around, I is a person, a character. Something happened yesterday to this character, and this character is going to do something tomorrow. So in the mind, in the thinking and feeling level dimension, I is somebody, somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's mother, somebody's cousin, whatever, somebody's neighbor, somebody's partner. See, in the state, in the waking state, in the mind state. But in our direct experience, meaning the reality of our experience, I is awareness, you see. So we have to bring the reality of our experience into our dream, to have a waking dream, to have the dream not be luring us into being the reality. Because the dream can lure you to be reality. Oh yes, my house is real, my mother is real, my father is real, my feelings are real, my thoughts are real, my images are real, my past is real, my future is real. But what about presence, consciousness, beingness? Reality from the mind perspective is objective, it's matter. It's something like the tree or a rock is real from the mind perspective. But from the reality of consciousness, it's not matter, it's no matter. It's just presence. There is never matter. Matter is imitation. Consciousness recognizes matter as mind. So from the perspective of consciousness, matter is mind. But from the perspective of mind, matter is reality. And consciousness is mind. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, you can listen to that again. I'll send you the recording. It's a subtlety of what I was sharing with you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kelly. Any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Omar. Hello, Omar.
Hello. I had this question regarding the transcending. I read the story about a father, like a father
The
who
father.
who wanted to help his little uh, girl, to have a better life,
Mm-hmm.
and he bought her his toys. She was just a kid, like 5 years old or something. And she took one of the toys and um, she said, "This is mine. Like this toy is mine." And like the other kids wanted to play with it, and she refused. Like she told them, "This is my toy. This is my present."
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So first he was grabbing it from her and telling her just let the other kids play. And then it didn't work out. Like she became even more identified with the toy. Like she didn't want to share. And then he followed like a different approach. He just let her have it. Like he told her, you can have the toy, you can play with it, and he let the other kids do like other things. And like then he found out like somehow the girl like transcended it. Like she started sharing the toy. Like she now felt that it's okay. Like now she can possess it. Then now she can give it away. So it's just like the it's like being okay with not transcending. Like like one can be okay with not with identification. It's not something to feel guilty about that that you felt like you are the body or something momentarily. Accepting that leads to transcending it. Like you may feel like you're the body or mind. That's fine. Then you would that itself would lead to transcending. Like the thing that you may be like identified. That's fine. That's not something to fight. That this is how the shift itself in consciousness internalized the internal realization occurs. Would you agree with that, or like how would you
Mm-hmm.
uh,
I see.
describe what happened to this girl?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we are this character, when we are identified with the body mind, when we feel that I is this person, I is this character in time and space, we will experience the sense of limitation, we will experience a sense of lack, and we will experience that we are separate from others and separate from the world. And in our daily life, we will feel the emotions, we'll experience the emotions. The happy emotions when we get what we want, and of course then the unhappiness because we lost what we had, or we're about to lose what we have, or what we're wishing to have. Now, you can be in that state of identification and experience the emotion, but what matters is how you experience them. When you are experiencing the emotions from a distance, meaning you have labeled yourself and labeled the emotion, and you are engaging in strategies to avoid, to blame, to ignore, to sweep under the rug. When you are experiencing the emotions from a distance rather than approaching them with your interest, with your sense of surrender and sense of exploration. On one hand, the sense of separation is maintained, and on the other hand, you will find that in fact these sensations, as you approach them, as you open yourself up to them, as you invite them to reveal themselves whichever way they wish, that in fact there is nothing at stake. There is nothing that is, this whole sense of danger, of imminent doom is empty. So there is a sadhana in the waking dream of being still, silent, present, irrespective of whatever is happening, whatever seems to be a painful impression is arising, to sort of experiencing it at its core, to experiencing its, to go to its heart, and to be complete in complete vulnerability, in the sense that complete availability to that sensation, that feeling, that emotion. And to be silent, to be listening, and to be transparent to it, sort of inviting it into your whole being, to experience it fully, to experience all its qualities, all these tiny vibrations, these tiny murmurs. It's all the various aspects of that sensation, of that feeling, to sort of give your entire body mind to it, without an agenda, without an intention, a personal intention to, that's the way I will get rid of it, without that intention of making a strategy, but to experience the intimacy, the full-fledged intimacy that is at the heart of this emotion, that reveals itself to be a sensation, transparent, empty, and that reveals the peace that is at its core, like the silence at the heart of the storm, or the heart of the tornado is the quiet. You will realize that the entire manifestation, the entire emotion was permeated by the silence, by the quiet stillness of being.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, this sadhana actually, I saw Moji speaking about it. If you know Moji, he's like a Jamaican spiritual teacher. Yeah, he talked about experiencing all the whatever is manifesting, whatever arises, you just be open with it, and experience it. And I found this to be very um, enlightening. But like I wanted to like inquire about, like, if someone is shouting, like sometimes I feel like I want to shout, or maybe, say I don't accept you, or anything, like something like that, and still be in peace inside with that manifestation. you
Mm.
know like this manifestation happens, and then I would not feel guilty about it. Like, I would say this is possible also, like I could
You know,
be like this, or like transcending that occurs after accepting it. Like, after accepting the manifestation,
if you
this
have
transcending happens somehow. Like,
you have a
I'm not fighting the manifestation. Yeah.
if you have a wound, it makes no sense to put salt on it, right?
A wounded mace.
You have a cut in your a cut.
Yeah.
You don't want to put salt on it, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But still, it's a good idea not to put salt on it. You don't want to. If you get you yell at somebody, you don't want to yell at yourself because you are yelling at somebody, because that becomes a double one,
Exactly.
double trouble.
Yes.
But
Yes. This is
still,
what I'm saying. Like,
you have
enlightened person.
if you have a cut and you don't put salt on it, it's a good idea. But you still have the cut. You still have the cut. So to say, okay, it's a good idea not to put salt on the cut is a good idea. But to say that, oh well, the cut means nothing. It's a
Possibility.
yeah. So of course, yelling, getting angry, it can happen. It happens. Actually, it does happen. I mean, it's happened a lot. And we are not trying to transcend anger, but we are trying to wake up to our true nature. And when you wake up to your true nature, you realize that that the whole realm of anger was because of your false identification, was because of your mistaken identification. You felt that you were this person and that the other person was this other person. And so you were yelling at them. We're not trying to get rid of anger. We're trying to awaken from the entire dream. Not just so that anger ends, but so that our life is a true life. So we awaken to truth, you see. Awaken to truth. So the strategies, the strategies that you do in your life don't matter too much. What matters is to awaken from your mistaken identity. You see.
Like, enlightened person does not always have to be an angel. Like, doesn't always have to
be what? Eh?
Like the enlightened person that does not have to be an angel. Like,
An angel.
he can make mistakes also. He can say, I don't accept this. I don't think this is something I would accept, or something. Like, he'll be sincere. He would just be like, whatever manifests. Like, he doesn't have to be something specific. It doesn't have to be constant all the time in a certain state all the time. He can be in any state, in any shape, form.
Yes, yes, I understand. So, okay, first, it's important to just mention that there is no enlightened persons. That a person refers to a mind state. Yes. So a person is a mind state, is a point of view, a mental point of view. To knowing yourself, meaning consciousness knowing itself. does not mean that in the dream world you can now uh, uh, eat poisonous food and survive. You still in the dream world, there are rules that operate for the body, and there are rules that operate for the mind. At the body-mind level, we are drawn towards comfort, towards ease, towards resting when we're tired, towards when we are speaking to have the space to share, to laugh together. So yes, if you are in the company of people who are abusive, who they just want to rob you and ridicule you, you are going to walk away from that situation. It has nothing to do with being knowing yourself or not. You are just going to avoid the madness. Now, if you look in life, in fact, many of us do not avoid the madness. We go more and more into the madness. We exacerbate the situation. The question is, why do we do that? We sometimes relate with people deep down, we don't want to relate with them. But we relate with them because we think that maybe we get something. Maybe we'll get some money, we'll get some honor, we'll get some friendship, we'll be part of the group, we'll be part of the team. Sometimes we know that we should not have a relationship with this person, but we say, oh well, maybe I can have some pleasure with this person, and so then I go for it, and then I realize that it creates a whole sorts of problems for us. So two things: in the waking dream, there is an intelligence to the body mind, but also in the waking dream there is a stupidity of ignorance, right? So if you remove the stupidity of ignorance, you still have the wisdom of the body mind that will say, no, I don't want to relate with people who are abusive. I don't want to work for a company that doesn't respect the employees or underpays them or treats them, they have to work 60 hours a week. You see, so that is still functioning.
Yeah, like these manifestations can manifest like the ignorance and the intelligence. There's no place to stay in.
Yes, Amar. Any other questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Yes, hello, Zoe.
So there was something you said in the last satsang, and you brought up something else tonight about when we continue to argue, and something like the spin continues on its own, and the thing you said in the last one had something to do. You were talking with Maria, and it was about the body mind when it goes to sleep. It's something like this form has that same sort of I can't remember your exact words, but it's like a projection that when the body mind starts waking up, it it starts seeing the world, and somehow, or yeah, seeing things as objects separate. And I just those statements really hit me. It was sort of like the body mind is almost like a spin, this repetitive spin that starts waking up. Is
Yes.
that making any sense to you? And could you talk about that more?
Yes, I forgot the first one, but I will talk about the second part
Okay.
of the question. That So, as presence, we experience peace. We are peace. It's a, you could say that the world body mind is sort of a very gentle flow and it's imbued with love. Now, that's from the perspective of presence, which is our true nature. But then there is a perspective of the personal self, which we refer to as the body mind, but in fact, it is a manifestation of the sense of separation that appears as an energetic coagulation, a sort of an energetic spin. At the feeling level, it's dense and opaque, coarse. And at the mind level, it's concern. It's full of concern. And it's a labyrinth of images and feelings and emotions. And in the contemplation of our true nature, we're examining that sense of being somebody, being a person. And this examination, this contemplation, takes time, but it starts to decompose that structure. But that structure, we experience it in the waking state, we also experience it in the dream state. And in deep sleep state, it's there in the basement. And when the body wakes up, it arises out of the basement and reappears, starts faintly in the morning. It's faint, but the mind starts to spin about me and my activities and memories of the past, my past feelings, my past emotions. Yesterday's emotions are also uploaded, and further thoughts and emotions about myself and my world. So the body is made out of these thoughts and feelings. That's what the body is. So the body is this sense. This is a manifestation of the sense of separation. While the true body, if you can use that word, is transparent and is borderless, is vast, is everything is the body. The body is a universal being. So when you turn your attention to a particular sensation, you have to sort of scan your body, go to any sensation within your body or the general sensation of your body, and you go to it. When you go to it openly and you invite it to its full expression, it will expand into the true body, into the infinite universal cosmic body. So similarly, when you wake up in the morning and you download the me structure, meaning the thoughts and the feelings of it, goes under the radar. You don't even notice it's happening, but that's what happens. Your mind starts to spin all the bits and pieces from yesterday, and bits and pieces that it's just composing. That download then reestablishes the body of separation, the mind of separation, of the separate self. So you have to sort of notice, become astute to this process. And mainly the contemplation that you do, the work that you do, is in the moment of presence, in this moment. It's always in this moment. So it is in this moment that you can invite yourself to the full experience of presence. Meaning you invite yourself or the sensation to come together to their full expression. A sensation that expresses itself fully loses its opacity, loses its density, loses its structure, loses its form, and reveals itself. To be completely transparent and empty. We have to be watchful of the process that we engage in, filling this empty vessel with our stories, holding on to our feelings, holding on to our stories. There is a choice to be made there. There's a choice to be made. Sometimes you don't have much time to make that choice. Emotion grabs you so quickly, seemingly. But you need to notice that you have a choice. You can make a choice to stop, to cease to engage in abstractions, and to experience the reality. Whatever it is, experience its reality.
Magdi, when you talk about expressing it fully, can you explain that just a little bit more?
You know, you can experience an oak tree just by the name of it, oak tree. You can experience an oak tree by looking at it. In a book, an image of it. You can experience an oak tree by opening your door and stepping out in the yard and looking at the oak tree. You can experience an oak tree by walking to it, getting close to it, looking up at it, looking at the shapes of the leaves, looking at how the wind sways in the leaves and the branches, looking at the trunk of the tree, the écorce, how do you say in English, the bark of the tree, the color of it, the shape of it. You can touch a tree, feel the tree, sense it. There are, with what is happening in your experience in terms of thinking and feeling, you can experience your feeling like you experience an oak tree. You can experience it from a distance. Oh, that is an oak tree. She did this to me, he did that to me. And I'm feeling this and that from a distance. But a feeling is very intimate. Because where is it taking place? Where is a feeling taking place? It's very intimate within you. But yet we don't experience it. We just go to some teeny tiny lobe in the brain and we experience a feeling there. But yet the feeling is taking place in our entire being, very intimately. Every cell of our being is experiencing the feeling. So instead of just experiencing the feeling mentally, there is a possibility for us to experience it fully, wholly, every cell of our body. How is it reverberating? How is it appearing? How is it manifesting? How is it dancing? What is its color, its shape? It's sort of to go there with your entire being, to feel it all. But it requires a silence of the mind. You cannot be experiencing and then having conversation about it, because a conversation is a very long conversation. You start conversing, you don't stop. You have to be silent and quiet and still and go kinetically, go kinesthetically, go with your sensory, the sensory realm. You experience the entire vibrational field of the sensation. And you'll experience its wholeness, its fullness, and its emptiness. Its totality. Its totality is a totality of consciousness. Totality of that which you experience is the totality of that which experiences. Okay, it's 6:52. Thank you all for your very lovely company. Thank you, George and Kelly, and Esther, and Omar, Emmanuel, Ola Emmanuel, Zoe, and Richard, Kelly. Thank you all.
Thank you, Magdi. Please send the tape.
Yeah.